Hey there, Ben. Thanks for following up with your text message that for whatever reason I just didn't send the second half. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. So the topic is vibrato, right? And the one thing you want to make sure is that your vibrato fits the situation that you're working in, right? You don't want to be playing a slow song and then all of a sudden out of the blue start doing like when the things on the end of a door, it doesn't fit the situation. It has to match. And so there's two things I'm thinking about here. It's kind of like a sine wave where you have your amplitude on one side right here, your peaks and your valleys and things like that. And then on this side over here, I think of time or the tempo of the song. And so as time is happening, the tempo, in our case in Magnolia, the tempo is 74 beats per minute. That's our time. That's how fast things are happening. And then on this axis over here, we have our positive, our negative. In our situations, not really positive, negative, but it's the peaks and valley of our vibrato, and they have to match up, and it has to be consistent. Otherwise, it'll sound kind of funny in the situation. So when you have a vibrato, when you're doing vibrato, you're not doing. It's like a baby string bend. And vibrato should be just like a little smear, like almost a quarter tone. You're not getting up quite as high to this note, but you're kind of like in the middle between this note and this note right here. And you want to be consistent, so when your peaks and valleys are happening, you want them to be smooth, right? So as you have your time, you have your time happening here. You want, as this is time, you want your peaks and valleys to be the same exact peak, and you want your values to be the same exact depth. So height up goes the same, coming back down comes the same. So you're not going up here, wild here, then down here, then this, and then this, right? So you see, it's not gonna look like a jagged line like this right here. It's gonna be very smooth, right? So as far as the string being bent, you should be very consistent with how high and low it's going. Now, what does time have to do with this? Is because the vibrato should reflect the tempo of the song. So if I had this beating at 74 beats per minute, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and I'm doing vibrato at the speed of the eighth note. So I'm trying to stay consistent. I'm trying to stay consistent with how high and low the string is being bent. Just rocking that string up and down. Classical vibrato is side to side. We'll talk about this some other time. But for this vibrato, up and down, and it should match the eighth note against this quarter note right here. So bow, wow, 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 wow. If that matches, it's going to sound really good in the song. Right? It's not, I'm not doing, how's that would go? Let's play that. Two and 3 and 4 and, right? So it shouldn't be like, what I almost consider like nervous vibrato. Not that you're nervous, but it seems kind of like you're afraid of, you're thinking about what you're gonna do while the vibrato's happening. So the vibrato's kind of like almost like it's like a verbal filler. I guess would probably be the better way to put it. It's not a verbal filler where you're like, oh, what am I gonna do next? It's like that is the event. That's part of the lick just as much as any of the other notes are. So when you're doing vibrato, don't think of the vibrato as like, period, okay, now like it's for me to do something with my hand while I think about what the next thing I'm gonna do is. No, the vibrato is still part of the line. And that's how these great players, their phrasing is so good, is because they take the time to make sure that the vibrato is in time with the song, is beating at the eighth note, it's a subdivision, and then the vibrato has the same exact peaks and valley every time. This is not easy. I would sit there and practice when I was first learning this technique. Really listening to what I was doing Make sure I'm consistent every time. The vibrato is still part of the music. It's not a, oh, what am I gonna do next? Oh, I'm gonna do this next. No. Like that right there. Awesome. So like I said, think of it as like a sine wave where that has the same exact uniform peaks and valleys each time, and then that time is relative to, or is exact as the tempo of the song. So work on that for me for next time. All right, man. I'll see you on Friday.